Hey everyone, welcome to Mountain Beast Mysteries. In today's video, we're going to be talking about a very interesting encounter that happened back in the year 2001 in Washington, the month of September. This is a rock throwing incident that involved two female hikers who were on a remote hiking trail. They believed there was nobody else on the trail, yet after finding a strange hut of some sort that was created, some strange structure that looked almost like it was a nest, of some sort. Like it looked like there was a sleeping area or a bedding area in it. Now, not that long ago, I made a video about a Sasquatch nest site on Vancouver Island, and this kind of reminds me of that story. And once I read it to you, you guys will find out why. And there's like a lot of similarities between this story and that one. But I'm going to get right into it here. So in about 2001, I was up on Mount Loop Highway with my best friend. We decided to go for a late afternoon hike that we were familiar with, Heather Lake Trail. In fact, that was our routine exercise spot because we knew it was safe. Before I explain that incident, there is something else I need to share. We went up there on another occasion and noticed a really large kind of hut off the trail. It was somewhat difficult to get to due to the steep terrain. I can't even recall how we even noticed it because it was so well disguised. It was enormous though. We made it down there and explored it. Heavy amount of broken branches covered over a hollowed out tree stump. The roof was made of fresh branches, tons of more branches on the floor that appeared to be matted as if it was slept on. The entrance was covered by more branches. I'm 5'3" and it was high enough to be a 2-story home for a kid's playhouse. About 7 feet high. It was amazing, but very eerie because it was obvious that it was recently built and used. Also, there was a stinky odor, like a wet dog. Within a few minutes, Cindy and I felt like we were being watched and left the hut right away to continue our hike. We thought nothing of it after that. Didn't suspect Bigfoot at all because that didn't cross our mind. The original story I wanted to share was one where Cindy and I went up as the very last hikers on the trail that late afternoon. A couple coming down warned us about it getting dark and us being the last ones. It takes about 45 to 50 minutes to hike up, and when we got up there, we turned around to head back down. Before that, we both had to pee. Cindy went first and went behind some trees to squat. She came out with a smirk on her face, asking why I'd been throwing rocks at her. I denied doing so, but she didn't believe me even when I said I couldn't see her because I was doing last-second sightseeing about 20 feet away. Then I had to go pee and we switched places, and just as I squatted, a rock was thrown about my head and hit the tree I leaned against. There was no way it was Cindy because I knew she was behind me, not in front. I freaked out and told Cindy it must have been some creepy guy watching, so we started hollering out. It was so silent up there, and we can feel like we were being watched, yet we knew we were the only ones up there. I told Cindy, let's go now, and we started walking really fast, and then we started running. Parallel to us running on the trail, we could hear and feel the ground stomping and branches breaking. We freaked out, and I grabbed Cindy and we hid behind a tree off the trail. The sounds of somebody following us stopped. Then bam! Another rock gets thrown at us while we're in our hiding spot. We started screaming and ran down that mountain, I swear in 15 minutes. Bloody scraped legs and wet clothes from sliding down the smaller water-filled rock beds. We got into our car and cried. We didn't know who or what that was. No joke, about 2 years later, I watch on TV a couple describing their face-to-face encounter with a Bigfoot on Heather Lake Trail. I called Cindy, and now I'm convinced that's what it was. The smell, the strange hut, the rock throwing, ground stomping, branches breaking. We were being followed by Bigfoot. So that is a very interesting encounter and a scary one. Like I said, their first time, like I said earlier, before the rock throwing incident, they were out on that trail, and they discovered a camouflaged, concealed hut. A very large one that would definitely be able to, contain a Sasquatch or something of that size. and it had an area that looked like a bedding area. And this is very similar to that story on Vancouver Island, where the couple was hiking along the trail and there was all those downed trees, and there was a little hole that the lady saw something, looking up at her out of. Like, she could see its eyes kind of spying on her from inside this nest-like structure. And another detail that is also very similar to that story, in the one on Vancouver Island, as they were leaving, they could hear these creatures paralleling them through the bush. In this story, they're doing the same thing. As they're leaving, they can hear this thing in the trees kind of following them, alongside them. This is something that's very common in Sasquatch reports. You'll hear of people trying to get out of an area after, having some sort of strange encounter, and they'll hear these things or see them paralleling them in the trees, just out of sight. But they can hear them because these things are massive. So, if you have this happen, you can pretty much guarantee that that's what it is. It's a Sasquatch. If you can hear something just off trail, kind of beside you, walking along, it's a good bet that you're being followed by one of these creatures. And then the rock throwing thing. I mean, how many times do you hear stories of rock throwing? It just happens all the time. It's something that apparently they do. And, in my film Wildman, My Search for Sasquatch, the first half of the film is about my dad's rock throwing experience on Vancouver Island. He was out fishing on a little lake called Henry Lake, where something tossed two very large rocks towards the water, and one of them actually splashed into the water, and my dad was able to actually see it. It seems like the rock throwing thing is just a sign to say, get out of here, this is my area, I don't want you around here, you're too close to my home or my nest. And it can be a scary thing, because in some of these reports, the rocks are, like I said, massive. Like in my dad's story, these are like big boulders. They weren't just like golf ball size rocks or baseball size rocks. They were like giant rocks that, a person or any animal on this planet wouldn't be able to pick up and throw unless it was something like a Sasquatch. And this is like later in the day when things are getting quiet and things are about to get dark. It's that creepy hour, that creepy dusk hour, and these are the last two people there. And so, with nobody else around, these two would be easy targets for, Sasquatch if it wanted to take them and turn them into missing 411 stories. It'd be interesting to try to go out and do day hikes in like the Nordegg area, where I always go. It'd be interesting to do them later in the evening, when I know there's not a lot of people on the trail, just to see what happens, because they probably think like you might be the only one on the trail at that time, and if I wanted to take you, it'd be an easy thing to do. So maybe that's the best time to have an encounter, is later in the evening, before things get dark and things are getting quiet. That's just how it seems in a lot of these stories. But I don't know, what do you guys think of this? Seems like Washington has a lot of good creepy reports, at least from what I can see. I mean, the video that I posted a couple days ago, the guy who took his kid out fishing, who saw the creature eating the carcass, that also happened in Washington. So lots of crazy stuff going on there. And up north in BC, they are definitely some of the top locations for having Bigfoot encounters. If you want to support Mountain Beast Mysteries, you can do so using the GoFundMe link down in the video description. You can share your thoughts on this video and this story down in the comment section. Thanks for watching this video, guys. We'll see you next time on Mountain Beast Mysteries.